At what point do you really take the advice of a friend? The universe isn't just out there, it's interacting with you. Claim your power by embracing the unknown. This is Tracy with Tracy Talks, and I'm here to ignite your curiosity. Don't just listen, embrace it. I don't actually have any tattoos, and I have been considering maybe I should get one. And I don't know why I'm compelled to, but there are times where I feel like I need something. I think one of the biggest decisions is, what do I really want to get? If I'm going to commit to that, I really want it to be something that has significance. I want it to be something that is important to me or reminds me of something. I don't just want stupid things tattooed on my body. The more that I age and the more that I think about it, I really do need some type of warning label on me. I need a do not disturb or don't poke the bear or be careful, you're about to go somewhere and you're going to lose. And I think it's kind of funny, but kind of not. Because I don't know if people really understand how much I hold back and how much I try to allow people to live their own lives and make their own decisions. And what I find interesting is there are times where I get a lot of unsolicited feedback. I get unsolicited feedback in all aspects of my life, my dating, my professional choices, my personal choices, my workouts. And I find it interesting because I can sit in a group and listen to people. And when people talk about the decisions that they're making and what they're doing, I don't automatically interject. I don't insert my own personal feelings all of the time. And so I find it interesting when I get a lot of feedback. And I really do think there are times where I display enormous amounts of restraint. And if anybody that knows me is laughing and you think that I am overly assertive, just imagine what is actually going through my head and what I'm not saying. And so I think I need a label. I think I need something on me somewhere that's visible that says, be careful. And I think it's just a really good message for us to consider in this time where we are commenting on everything. And why? Why do we need to have an opinion? And why do you need to share it? Why do you need to tell people and react and make these passive-aggressive comments? If somebody has not asked you for an opinion, don't offer it. I find something else very interesting is I have been doing this podcast for almost a year now. I started in July of 24. And there are times where I will tell people that I do it, and there are times where I don't tell people. And I don't tell people because I don't want your feedback. I don't want your opinion. I don't want you to offer me any unsolicited advice. I don't want you to share your opinion on what I am doing and what I am not doing. And I find it that as women, we talk so much about how we feel like there are men in our lives who do not see us as equal, who do not see us as capable. But I also find it that in groups of women, we are still doing this to the women in the group, acting as if she is not capable of making her own decisions, right or wrong. She's the one that has to live with them. And I do struggle with, at what point do we step in when we feel that a situation is unsafe, unhealthy? And what is that line? Because that feels like a big gray area. Is it only when a woman is in a toxic relationship? Do we feel like we have the right to offer an opinion? And let's be realistic. Most people do not take anyone else's advice unless they're absolutely ready to do it. Most people do not use unsolicited advice, that somebody has to be open to it. Somebody has to want it. Somebody has to be asking for that or be at a place where they can receive it. So why are we throwing out all of this unsolicited advice to everybody? I recently was asked what I do. And like I said, there's a lot of times where I just don't tell people because, frankly, I cannot emotionally support somebody else through my journey. I cannot continue to justify why I'm making the decisions that I'm making. And if you don't understand those, that is your problem to deal with. That is your issue to deal with. And I do get feedback about what I'm doing. I was asked recently, what is it that you do? And I was feeling playful. I don't know what I was feeling, but I just was honest. Well, I do this podcast, and I start to talk about some of the aspects of it because I find the steps pretty easily, but there are a lot of steps that need to be taken if you want to produce something that is somewhat of a good quality. I was actually talking about these steps. The person then started offering feedback. Never done anything like this. Never thought about doing anything like this, but they have an opinion about what I should be doing. This is where I need to flash the warning label. This is the moment where I didn't ask. It's not about you. It's not about you. Stop interjecting your opinions. And as a woman, I feel like this has been this theme that constantly comes up. And I am a strong woman. I am someone who can speak my mind. I am someone who can be assertive. And I do realize that there are an enormous amount of women who cannot say that, who cannot speak their truth, who cannot stand up for themselves. I know I've thrown a lot out here, and I know that I have laid the groundwork for several different areas. And I want to highlight a few topics that I think are really important here. We need a safe space where we don't have people that challenge us. We need a safe space where we can work through situations in our life. Be that safe space for someone. Be a place where you just listen. You don't have to comment. Listen. If you don't have any personal experience with the topic in life. Don't offer any feedback. Keep your mouth shut. Keep it zipped. You don't have any authority to be offering anyone advice. If you are someone who is surrounded by people who continually make you feel bad about yourself, bad about your choices, bad about your circumstances, it very well could be a time where you need to seek out new friends, seek out a family by choice, seek out people who don't criticize all of your choices. There's a fine line there, because when somebody is criticizing our choices, oftentimes it feels like they are criticizing us. It's really difficult to come back to a healthy place once that critiquing has started. Once you're in a relationship and you get to this point where it feels aggressive and there is animosity and there is tension, it's pretty difficult to walk back from that. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm just saying a lot of relationships can fall apart. And we can distance ourselves from those people. I've just been personally frustrated again, and I am a strong, assertive person. So imagine a woman who is not strong and assertive, getting constant feedback and criticism for the choices that they make. We also come from this place of, I'm trying to help you, that I have more life experience than you do, I have more knowledge than you do, and I'm just trying to help you. Being critical is not helpful. It is not loving. It is not supportive. And oftentimes it produces the opposite effect of what we truly want. This is the label that I need to have tattooed on me visibly. Warning. Approach with caution. This individual has a short fuse and is prone to sudden outbursts. Handle with care and avoid provocative behavior to ensure your safety. I'm trying to make light of this situation and these ways in which we show up in the world and we're criticized for it. And especially as women, it's like we still aren't allowed to show up as we are. We still aren't allowed to be who we need to be. And it's frustrating when it comes from men, but it is extremely frustrating when it comes from other women. It is hard enough to show up and be our authentic self. And it is extremely difficult as women when, especially as we've aged and we have known the challenges, we have known the things that we had, these rite of passages that we had to go through. And so when we are at periods in our life where we are changing the game and changing how we live, or even if we're just new, even if we're just young women, how can we be so critical? And how can we look at the situation and circumstances with a little more kindness, with a little more understanding. And again, I find myself getting passionate about these topics because here I am being someone who is able to stand up for themselves. And how many women cannot? And what are we doing to support our sisters, to lift them up, to build up their courage, to build up their strength, to build up whatever quality it is so that they can succeed. Thank you for listening to this episode of Tracy Talks. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and share with others who would enjoy listening to this podcast. Friends can find Tracy Talks available on iTunes, Spotify, Substack, and YouTube. Hit me up on Instagram and Facebook at More Tracy Talks. And until next time, we meet again.